morning, sports fans. Bobby C. back out here at Yankee Stadium. Yesterday was supposed to be opening day around Major League Baseball, Yanks and Mets. Yanks were supposed to be in Baltimore to take on the Orioles at Camden Yards, but coronavirus had different plans. Here's a look at how this pandemic has affected the world of sports. In a coronavirus-hit world, sports, like many other things we grew accustomed to, is essentially gone. Thursday, March 26, was supposed to be Garrett Cole's regular season debut in pinstripes. Our Bronx State cameras were all set for the prize right-hander to make his first trip to the Hill in his new Yankee uniform. But Cole's first start will have to wait. Mets opening day will have to wait, too. Nearly 2 weeks ago, Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert became the first sports face of the pandemic. He tested positive for COVID-19, which set off a chain of events unlike anything we've ever seen in the NBA, and sports for that matter. It's not his fault, of course, even if he becomes the most memorable name attached to all of this. Other notable players followed suit in the NBA. Stars Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Durant, among them, also tested positive in the days afterward. The Jazz-OKC Thunder game was called off that night, and a short while later, the league suspended the season until further notice. The association's decision prompted other major collegiate and professional sports leagues to follow too. And at this stage, it is unclear when sports will resume in the U.S. It's unclear when life will normalize again. Tuesday, the global sports calendar took another hit. The decision to postpone the 2020 Tokyo Olympics by a year will further disrupt things. A calendar that has already been wrecked by the pandemic, and one that will surely be marked for a packed year next year, assuming things return in time. Hard to have a sports roundup in what would have been March Madness without any college basketball hoopla. My heart breaks for the Florida men's basketball team, which won an A-10 playoff game, or the St. John's squad that had its Big East matchup halted at halftime after winning in the opening round, too. The NCAA canceled March Madness. The men's and women's college basketball tourneys were just too risky. The cancellation extended to all remaining winter and spring NCAA championships as college sports near and far said goodbye to the spring seasons. All those seniors just looking for one more campaign. From D1 to D3, it was all gone, just like that. In the midst of all the sadness, though, there was plenty of unification as players and teams stepped up for those in need. Kudos to Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban for getting this narrative going. In response to Nets guard Spencer Dinwiddie tweeting about taking care of non-salaried arena workers, management responded by saying the franchise is putting a plan in place to help out Barclays Center staff. MSG reportedly plans to pay employees who work Knicks and Ranger games too, and is working on a long-term plan for paying its staff as the sports world is at a standstill. MLB donated $1 million to emergency food services, and each team pledged $1 million for ballpark workers affected by the shutdown. Baseball also announced support for minor leaguers who haven't been paid since August. The aid and the feel-good stories have helped a bit. It's so hard to fathom a world without usual contact, a world without major sporting events. Even at Churchill Downs, horse racing's jewel in the crown, the Kentucky Derby, is moving to September 5th, postponed by all of this. The late summer Derby would mark the first time the race isn't held, the first Saturday in May since 1945, when it was postponed to June during the waning months of World War II. In motorsport, the first 8 races of the Formula One calendar postponed. Monaco won't happen in May. Races in the Netherlands, Spain, and the prestigious event in Monaco, all have been postponed. Even star racer Lewis Hamilton is home, self-quarantined after coming in contact with actor Idris Elba, who tested positive for COVID-19. MotoGP is on hold, with its latest race in Thailand postponed on March 22nd. The professional tennis tour, men's and women's, has been suspended until June 7th, with all clay court tournaments in Europe canceled. ATP and WTA rankings have been frozen until further notice. In boxing, the third fight between heavyweight world champion Tyson Fury and former titleist Deontay Wilder is still on track to be their next bout, but it will not take place on July 18th as originally planned due to the coronavirus pandemic. The list goes on and on and on. The NHL, the National Hockey League, primarily based in the U.S., but with teams from Canada, also suspended its season. As we take a look at this picture of a new sports world, the Olympics really put things into perspective. Olympic competition has been canceled only 3 times in the 124-year history of the modern games, and all 3 instances were because of global conflict. 1916, World War I, 1940, and 1944, World War II. But never has the Games been pushed back a year, an enormous undertaking for a global event with more than 11,000 athletes from around the world. And it's not just the Games, of course. It's also the people from the sports world that won't recover. The coronavirus is hitting New York City hard, and on Monday it took the life of a one-time local basketball star. Former St. John's guard Lee Green passed away from the pandemic that is sweeping the country. A Parade All-American in high school, the Bronx native played for St. John's from 1991 to 1994, reaching 2 NCAA tourneys. He remained a St. John's fan and attended its win over DePaul at the Garden on January 11th. Many leagues have gone by way of the internet, electing to run what they can virtually. Last Sunday, drivers from all 3 NASCAR National Series competed in a 100-lap iRacing event at the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. The broadcast on Fox Sports 1 with Mike Joy, Jeff Gordon, and Larry McReynolds drew 903,000 viewers. Fox Sports has announced it will broadcast all remaining rounds of the eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series. IndyCar and F1 are running similar leagues. Challenging times like this have forced us to get creative, like Slam taking the NBA world into video games, but not for hoop, but rather Call of Duty. At 15 years old, Bronny James Jr., LeBron's son, is in the prime of his video game days. Slam held a Call of Duty Modern Warfare tourney, and it live-streamed the games on Twitch over the weekend. A freshman at Sierra Canyon, Bronny played with and against NBA players in this 6-versus-6 tournament. Myers Leonard, Mario Hezonja, Zach LaVine, and Donovan Mitchell were on his team. Bronny and his team lost the series 4-3, nearly coming back from a 3-0 deficit. We miss you, sports world. Hang tight while we heal, practice social distancing, and wash our hands. We'll be back, and we know that you'll be back too when the time is right.